The only difference between an $800 bottle of wine and a $5 bottle of grape juice is time and consistency.
Mm.
It's the process. That same grape, if you give it time and process and ferment it and you're consistent in the process, in the distillation process, then you're going to see something much more valuable than that grape that just gave up and was like, all right, I'm done. Just crush me now, drink me. So I think it's the same way with our journey and our process. So if you want to sell out and be a quick cup of grape juice, then cool, that's fine. Grape juice has a place. It has a value. That's cool. But are you going to be a bottle of wine?
I'm Michael A. Blunt, Executive Mindset Coach, and welcome to Wealthy Minded, the podcast for elite men who are looking for success beyond the money. Today I have with me Riah Greathouse. We actually went to college together and reconnected a few years ago when he reached out to me to join my Executive Mindset private coaching. We've been unstoppable and 10x partners ever since. Riah is also one of Georgia's most respected lawyers. Having begun his career prosecuting violent crimes as an assistant district attorney, he then joined a national plaintiff's firm and eventually launched his own practice, Greathouse Trial Law, a personal injury firm serving clients across Georgia. In addition to that, Riah is also licensed to practice law in the states of Arizona, Georgia, Texas, and Missouri, and is a member of several nonprofit boards. He has a certificate in negotiations from Harvard Business School and has been recognized by National Trial Lawyers Top 40 Under 40, Georgia Super Lawyers Rising Stars, and Law Firm 500 for building the nation's fastest growing small law firm in 2020. To date, his team has recovered well over $100 million. Riah, it is good to have you here. Before we dive in, I wanted to ask you to bring up a memory, and I want that memory to be of your grandfather. You've spoken about your grandfather being an inspiration to you. Can you tell us a little bit more about him?
Yeah. So my grandfather, he passed probably when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. But what I remember about him and his legacy from what people have told and even just my own recollection, I mean, he was just a force. He was a pastor during the civil rights era, marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Many things that he did throughout not just his career, but his life really made his community a better place. And that's just something that was instilled in me and my values with family and everything, his legacy. It's just something that I want to live up to and even surpass.
And how has your grandfather shaped your view of success and the way that you run your law firm now?
Well, you know, the first thing that he was a man of God. He was
Mm.
a pastor of a church in Atlanta, as I said, in a historical church. And it shaped me because it taught me, it instilled in me, obviously, to put God first in my faith and everything, my beliefs, and to understand that I am here for a larger plan. And I think that once you understand that you are a part of a plan, a perfect plan, it gives you that much more of a narrow focus. You really find your purpose, so to speak, and that's how I like to live. When I run my firm, I don't look at it as, oh, I'm just a lawyer. No, I have the opportunity to have a meaningful impact on someone's life. When people call us, a lot of times they're in the worst part of their lives. They're in chaos. They are in a point where they need help. So to be able to be that lifeline, to be able to be that calm in the storm, to really be a vessel of God's grace and mercy, that's just something that I embrace. And I have the people around me that's what they embrace. And I know that that is what I'm called to do. And that's what I'm doing.
Mm. You talk about the people being around you, and it sounds like what you're speaking about is teamwork.
Mhm.
Growing up, you were into sports.
Yeah.
What did that teach you about success?
Well, there are a few things with team sports. I always tell everyone, if you want to run a business, a lot of the leadership values that it takes, I learned it from sports. I learned it from playing on a team. A team is a group of individuals. And I'm also very intentional when I talk about my team at work, that my employees, I never refer to them as my employees or even my family. We're not family, we're a team. Because what a team is, it's a group of individuals who are seeking to accomplish one goal, where everyone's on the same page. If it's professional sport, we got to win the championship. We got to do with ours, it's we want to provide the best service. We want to get the most recovery. We want to do right by our clients. So you have those individuals with that one goal in mind, and everybody has a position to play. Everybody doesn't do the same thing. Everybody doesn't have the same skill set, and that's okay. But as long as we have the same mindset of what we're trying to accomplish, I can work with that. And that's
Mm,
something that you see, I'm thinking back to baseball is my favorite sport. And I'm thinking with my little boy, where you have someone who may be faster than others, or they may be a better hitter, or they may be a better catcher, where they all fit in their positions and they all bring something else different to the team, but it has to be, you know, that cohesion to where it fits for us to accomplish our goal. And that's the way I run my business, the exact same way. And if you don't want to win, if you're not willing to fit into that program, then you're not for us. And that's okay. You might be really great for somebody else, but we had to understand what it is we're trying to accomplish and how we can fit the puzzle pieces to give us the absolute best team possible.
mm. We, the puzzle pieces, having the absolute best team possible. Can you briefly tell us about your career and what you do today so that the audience can understand how this all comes together with your team?
Sure. Sure. So I am a wrongful death and personal injury attorney. And as I said, when clients come to us, oftentimes they're injured. They need medical treatment. They need a new vehicle. Life has been interrupted, and they need someone who is going to not just hold their hands, but to let them know and guide them and show them that everything's going to be okay, and ultimately get them the best help, the best treatment, and get them compensated for their injuries. So, what my team has to do is we have to understand all these moving parts that our client needs and how we can work together. And that's what we do. There's never just one person on a case assigned to a client. We have someone in, to start from ground through. We have the intake team, the person who, gets them onboarded and everything, to the receptionist who greets them, to the legal assistant who's ordering their police report or the incident report and ordering the bills and records, to the case manager who's holding their hand and guiding them and getting them from doctor to doctor, or basically their personal concierge. And then we have the lawyer who's the quarterback holding it all together. So there are multiple pieces. So we're able to fit that. And then, as I said, ultimately deliver the results that we want for our clients.
Before we started working together, what was going on in your life and career at that time? And what inspired you to reach out to me?
I remember, I won't say chaos because I've been fortunate to always, I've been good at business. So I won't say chaos. There was structure, there was order, but I didn't like the culture. Didn't
Mm,
really like my team. I didn't enjoy going to work. I honestly didn't like the people that worked for me. And I think it was mutual. I think that so often, especially as business owners, not even just business owners in life, we are very reactive in nature. We're not proactive. We're not setting the tone for what it is that we want. And therefore, we're not intentional about what it is that we attract. At that point in my career, I remember about 5 years ago, I really hit a point where I was depressed. I was down. I didn't like the work that I was doing. It felt like work. I remember having turnover. I had employees that would quit left and right, or I would have people that just brought bad energy. And it took me being intentional on a few things. Number one, I believe in extreme ownership. I said, as the owner, this is my fault. This is my fault. I am the reason that it's like this. If I don't like it, I'm the one who built it. So I'm the one who has to fix it. So that was number one. And then number two, uh, getting with you, I realized, and that's when we talk about the attraction and all these principles that you've helped teach me, where we subconsciously or unconsciously are bringing things into our lives because we're not clear about what it is that we want. We're not breaking it down. We're not building our dream car. We're not customizing it like we can. We're kind of just saying, well, I'll take whatever comes. And that's what most people get. You get whatever comes. Sometimes you like it, but most times you don't. And that's where we were. And that's when I said, I have to be able to design this. I need some help building out what it is that I really want.
The interesting thing about what you said is you asked for help. And a lot of times, I'll mention to you and I'll mention to my clients, a lot of rich people or people with financial means, we talk about rich dad, poor dad. Rich people think they don't have any problems, so they never ask for help. Poor people know all of their problems, but they don't ask for help.
Mhm.
None of them are asking for help. And so my question to you is, how did you become so aware? And the stat that I'm going to give you is this: 95% of people in the United States believe that they're aware. There are only 10 to 15% that are actually aware.
Yeah,
So for you to reach out and for you to have had your first million, when did you get your first million? How many years in?
probably 3 years in.
3 years in. So you were already successful before we already met, financially successful,
Yeah.
but you reached out for help. Why did you do that knowing that you were already successful and that you didn't need me, but you wanted me in order to help you get to where you needed to go?
I'll put it in sports since I know we brought that up a little earlier, but if you notice, Tiger Woods had a swing coach for many years. A lot of these athletes, I know Venus had a coach. Michael Jordan had his personal coach. If you have all of these, superstars that understand that they have to have a team around them, people to push them and see their blind spots and to help them with the things that they can't see, then why wouldn't I do the same? I think that there are a lot of people who lose a lot of money because of their ego and their pride. Just like I
Mm,
tell my team and I tell people around me, vulnerability and honesty goes a long way with me. And I think that that's what I had to do in my ego, was to be honest and saying, yeah, there's a lot that I know, but there's a lot that I don't know.
mm,
One of the things, even with clients in our marketing and our messaging, we tell people, look, we're great at personal injury because it's all we do. It's what we do. It's all we do. We don't handle bankruptcy. We don't handle, divorce and so forth, because I understand that that's not what I'm good at. I don't know it. I don't know that area. And I think that so often in life, we expect ourselves to be good at everything. It's okay. We don't have to. So I think that that's something that always stuck with me from the beginning. Know your lane. It's
mm.
cool. Give yourself some grace. It's okay. Know the things you know and be aware that there are things you don't know. Because the faster that you get to the point of understanding that, and the faster you can go and find the people who do have the answers.
Mm.
So that's how I always thought about that.
We talk about sometimes in the coaching that there's two different versions of you. There's the version of you, if we take you, for example, that is successful, but hasn't put in the work,
Mm-mm.
hasn't put in the mental behind the scenes work. So you're going to continue to be successful, but it's going to be at a slower pace. And then there's a version of you now that is also successful, but you've put in the mental, the emotional, the spiritual work, and now has 10x'd where you were from that period 3 years ago when we first started working together.
Yeah.
What are some of the practices that you put in place that has expanded the gap between that guy who is going to be successful regardless? Because we always
Mhm.
talk about in sports analogy, Kobe was going to be Kobe regardless of what we did. Was he going to be Mamba? That all depended on him. Was he going to be Kobe, the talented basketball player who made it in the league? Of course. Was he going to be a Hall of Famer that had 5 rings?
Yeah.
Maybe not. It depended on his work. So, what are the practices that expanded that gap between that version of you who was talented enough to get into the league, between there and what you're doing now? What are some of the things that you are practically doing that you can give advice to these elite men to not only continue to excel financially? That I think that's just standard par for the course at this point,
Yeah.
but also mentally and spiritually.
Well, I'm not going to steal your thunder because I know you have your C3 method and everything, but that's what it is. Number one, that awareness, it starts with the decision.
Mm,
It started with the decision where I said, I want more, I want better.
mm,
It started with a conscious choice, just saying there's got to be something else better than this, and I'm going to find it.
mm,
For that decision, that awareness, that consciousness to say, I want more.
mm,
That's where it started. And then it continued on to what does more look like?
mm,
And I was clear. It's like it says in the Bible, make it plain. Or wherever you subscribe to, if it's not the Bible, or wherever, vision board or journal or wherever, write it down, make it plain. Business plan, make it plain.
mm,
Detailed. What's your vision? What do you want? And then I think that, of course, there are a bunch of parts in between, but you say to highlight the three, of course, that's it. The awareness, the vision, and the last one is the consistency.
mm,
That's the difference. I don't see a little bit of success and say, Mike, I'm good. This is an everyday process, showing up every day, every single day, working on your craft. I've worked on my business every single day,
mm,
Saturday, Sunday, whenever it's worked on. Now, it's not the traditional, you say, oh man, what about your family? What about, I have plenty of time for my family. I have plenty of times for amazing things because when I'm working on myself, that is me still working on my business. When I'm happy in being with my family and enjoying that, that is helping me with my business because it makes it clear on what my purpose and what my joy and everything is. And I'm just consistent. And it's cyclical. Once you get in there, you get into the zone. It's like autopilot. But consistency is what makes it different between me and anybody else.
mm. What I heard from you is maxing your potential,
Maximize
re-
it. Yeah.
reaching your full human potential. And you mentioned your wife, and I happen to know your wife, a beautiful wife. And I also happen to know that you have 2 dogs. You have the white picket fence, the amazing son, and you're a multi-millionaire. When does that become enough? When is enough?
So that's a great question because it goes to your purpose. My purpose isn't just to make money.
Mm,
My purpose is to have as many meaningful interactions with as many people as possible.
mm,
So when will it be enough? I don't know. I guess that when I take my last breath, it's been enough because I feel like as long as I'm here and have that purpose, it's to make everybody else around me better. Now, the byproduct of that, because I think that money is nothing more than a tangible exchange of value. I have money because I've given value. So then the true answer is, well, when do you want to stop giving value to people? I don't.
mm,
I don't ever want to stop giving value to people. Therefore, I'm always going to make money.
mm,
You get how that all just ties in together. So a lot that's what I tell new business owners. I want to make the money. Well, focus on your craft, focus on being good, and focus on solving a problem. I always tell my son there are two ways you're going to be rich in this world, if unless you're born rich. You either solve a problem or you tell a great story.
mm,
If you can do both, then I mean the sky's the limit. But it's usually one of those two things. You look at an athlete, they're telling a story, they're entertaining you. But you look at all these multi-billionaires, the Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezos, those guys, they solved a problem. So it's like asking them, when is it enough? When do you want to stop money? They don't, because that means I'm no longer solving problems.
mm.
So those are just my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about consistency, you talk about maxing out your potential, you talk about having it all is really what you're getting to, and which is the premise and the platform of the Wealthy Minded podcast,
Yeah.
is looking for success past financial gain and past the money. What does that look like? And it seems like you're establishing that, and that you've established that, and it's going to be a practice that you continue to do.
Hmm.
But my question is, what are some of your limiting beliefs that have held you back in life and that today you're still struggling with this mindset that you currently have, with the wife, the kids, the interaction, the value, all the wonderful things that you said? What are some of the things that you're still struggling with?
I think that it's always interesting, two things, how other people view you and then how you view yourself.
Mm,
Um, just turning 40, I obviously worry a lot less as I did when I was in my 20s or teens on what other people think about me.
mm,
Obviously, I want to have meaningful interactions. I hope that it's always a positive encounter, but that's not something I worry about. But what we always neglect is our self view. How do we feel about ourselves? How do we view ourselves? And I know that you and I were talking the other day during our session, and it really hit home. I think that sometimes, especially these high worth earners, successful people, we think that we're the golden egg.
mm,
We think that I'm valuable, I'm the egg. That's why people want, okay, that's good enough. When in reality, as you said, we're not the golden egg, we're the goose. And you remember that nursery rhymer story, whatever it is, I don't know what it's considered, but it was the goose that laid the golden egg that was the more valuable, right? That's the
mhm,
producer. That's the one. That's the moneymaker, the
mm,
value driver. That's the star of the show. And oftentimes we don't realize our own self worth, and we treat ourselves where we think, oh well, I'm the golden egg. That's good enough. People like me. They said I was pretty and shiny. That's cool. And don't realize that we have so much more.
mm,
And that's something that I still struggle with. I think when you don't understand the true value, there's a lot of things that you tolerate. There are a lot of people that you
mm,
tolerate. As business owners, we always say, "Well, I want people to come. I want everybody to love me, even not just your customers or clients, but even your staff."
mm.
And you try to be everything for everybody, and you realize you're really not pleasing anyone. I always say, and not being preachy. I know we've talked about the Bible and everything. Not even Jesus has 100% approval rating. There are people that still like, you know what I mean?
I
So,
like that one.
so I look at that, and for me, it turns into now just being unapologetically authentic. I
Mm,
am who I am. The people who are for me, I'm gonna attract you, and you're gonna give me your money. You're gonna give me your services,
mm,
and that's great. Instead of me forcing it, and trying to bend and mold to people who they weren't set up to come to me. They weren't set up to enjoy my Michelin starred fine dining when they have a McDonald's palate. And that's what we do so much is we dim our own lights because we're like, well, I don't want to blind them. Well, no, go for people who can tolerate that, for people who wear sunglasses. You
mm,
know what I mean? That's your crowd over there. So that's what it looks like and how you can see it unfolding when you have those issues that you don't even realize that you don't think you're really worthy. And I think that when you are operating at your potential, that means you're operating in your purpose. And when you're
mm,
operating in your purpose, the universe rewards you. They're just saying like good things happen to good people. Now, I'm not saying bad things happen, you're not a good person. That's not what I'm saying. But I mean, it's like going to a hotel, just random upgrades,
mm,
or you're at a restaurant, and all of a sudden, hey, we're going to put you on this table. Oh, we comped your drink. It's just good things happen when you're operating at your full potential. It's like you put yourself in a zone. You allow the universe to be great. You allow God to be God, right?
mhm,
And so often we don't do that. It's like put yourself in a position for good things to happen to you.
mm.
And they do.
Mm.
And that's not an overnight thing. I mean, obviously that's continuing to show up every day, but you show up enough, eventually they're gonna know your name. They're gonna start giving you some free drinks at the bar because they know your name. Now, I'm not saying literally go to the bar every day to get a drink, but that's what I mean in life. You keep showing up in
Yeah.
your purpose every single day. Eventually, you're gonna get on the list and you're gonna get in the club.
I work with a lot of people. I work with some famous people. I work with influencers. I work with professionals. And I also work with a lot of lawyers. And the difference between you and working with some of those other people in the past has been your consistency over the years. Whereas I work with these people and they'll see results
Mhm.
and then they stop.
Yeah.
And you mentioned from you that you kept going and this is your lifestyle until the time you take your last breath. What are some of the things that you're doing mentally in order to have that type of finesse and energy about yourself in order to convert doing these small minute things that where you might want to stop after you see success in converting and translating them into a lifestyle
Yeah.
or a legacy?
So I'll say it's my inner gift and curse that that insatiable trait of where you understand that this is a journey.
Mm.
I will never reach my destination, and that's okay. And I just recently came to that. I know when we started, I was very very destination driven. What I mean by that, it was always about goals. And I think that taking time and respecting the journey, the process, the only difference between an $800 bottle of wine and a $5 bottle of grape juice is time and consistency.
Mm.
It's the process. That same grape. And now, if you're a wine person, don't call me out if I'm wrong on this. It works in my head. So, that same grape, if you give it time and process and ferment it and you're consistent in the process, in the distillation process, then you're going to see something much more valuable than that grape that just gave up and was like, all right, I'm done. Just crush me now and drink me.
Mm.
So I think it's the same way with our journey and our process. So if you want to sell out and be a quick cup of grape juice, then cool, that's fine. Grape juice has a place. It has a value. That's cool. But are you going to be a bottle of wine? And what type of wine? There are people that
Mhm.
talk about I see success and I stop. Well, yeah, you're wine, but you're the cheap wine. Hold on a little longer. Keep going. Keep showing up every day. And you'll be that expensive wine. 3 years ago, my idea of success would say, I want a law firm that makes me money and doesn't give me stress. That's success. And for many people, it is. But then I think that that's neglecting purpose. Success and purpose go hand in hand. You can't have success without purpose. That's not true success. That's short lived. That's a check on the box. But true success is fulfilling your purpose and through meditation, prayer, through self reflection. As I said, my purpose is to be a light in the world and to provide value to someone. So I am successful every time someone looks me in the eye and can thank me and tell me that their life is better because of something that I've done or my team has done. That's success for me.
You mentioned meditation, prayer, vision boards, and self reflection. What is some advice that you can give to other elite men as some of the practical tools that you're currently using every day that has really 10x'd your wealth?
Hitting the reset button, man.
Mm.
You got to step back sometimes and clear the noise. I spend a lot of time with myself and my thoughts. And I know that as successful, or I should say busy, the wealthy, business owners, you're always busy. You're always go, 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 go. I think that it's important to isolate, be with yourself, be with your thoughts, reset, focus on your energy. Because when when you are running a business that is high volume with clients, or you have staff, that energy gets you giving off. You're always interacting. So you're giving energy, you're receiving energy, and so forth. It's okay to step back and just reset. And I'll even take one of yours and letting yourself know that you're safe.
Mm.
Give yourself permission to stop for a second. That's what we got to do. As elite men, so many expect us to be so many things to so many people. And it's okay to just be there for yourself at some point.
For someone who's listening, who has the money, who has the title, but still feels empty, who doesn't feel like they can sit with themselves, what would you say to them?
You got to get help.
Mm.
You got to talk about it, because that's where I was. And you realize you don't have to do this alone. We weren't designed as humans to do this alone. It's not, it's not a beta male to say, I need help.
Mm.
It's not, you know, feminine to say, maybe I'm not as strong as I thought. In fact, I think it's the opposite. I think that to have that self awareness and that vulnerability, you can unlock a new level and realize that there are more tools around you than you realize. What I mean by tools, I can mean people,
Mm.
the coach, the mentor, the friend, the companion, the wolf pack. You and I talked about that. I didn't have a wolf pack. I was very closed off and wanted to do it on my own. And you realize we weren't designed to do it on our own.
What is reaching out for help? What did that look like specifically for you?
So I'll tell our story. I mean, it won't even be in abstract. I'll just be very practical. What it was for me is I've always worked with business coaches. And I realized I'm very good at business. But obviously, as I talked about the revolving door, the culture, there are many things that are not as simple as saying, well, I got an MBA or I got a business coach, we can fix it. There are other things. And as I said, dealing with the mental health component, for one, I've always been a proponent of mental health. I
Mm.
have no problem with it. I have a therapist. I always tell people, I have a therapist, I have an energy coach, and I have a pastor. Like, that's how I say, like, I am not ashamed to say that, because I'm
Yeah.
caring so much. That is my team.
Yeah.
Um, but I remember knowing that I needed to make a change. And because of the way that the universe works, when you make a conscious decision, and you and I have been connected, we've been connected for what, since 2004. We've known each other. So over 20 years. And I keep seeing your content. Not about what Mike's doing as the person, Mike Blunt, it's not, oh, he's kicking it, at wherever this weekend, but the work that you were doing. And
Mm.
it spoke to me. And I think that that's what the universe does. And so many of us try to ignore it, but they're signs. They're the gift. It's like, here, this is what you need, what's in front of you. And it started with the phone call. Hey, Mike, what do you do? What is this that I keep seeing? Oh, well, this is what I need. Does it make sense for us to work together? Cool. And here we are years later.
Mm.
Help it's a simple thing, but it starts with you wanting to get help, acknowledging that there's got to be a better way.
Mm.
It's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. Some people say persistence. I think it's crazy. Try something new.
Riah, is there anything that you would like to leave the listeners with? Any words of encouragement or a message you feel called to share?
Yeah, go. If you're thinking about doing it, do it. You'll figure the rest out. But it starts with a conscious decision. Make the decision. You will be who it is that you want to be, but it starts in there. It's a conscious, not a subconscious decision, a conscious decision. Because you're over the subconscious. The subconscious is the scared little boy that's inside that just wants you to survive. That's the one telling you you're not good enough or you're not going to make it. And you've got to be the conscious choice to say, self, I know you just want me safe and to survive, but I'm safe. I'm here. I'm good. And just go. Just go.
Just go. Authenticity, maxing out and reaching your full human potential,
Mm-hmm.
adding value, staying loyal to your vision, putting yourself out there and becoming vulnerable and asking for help are all the things that I heard from you today. And I just want to say thank you, bro. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you sharing your limitations because, as you mentioned, a lot of times, and this is why I created the Wealthy Minded podcast, was they expect elite men to always have it together. And it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to ask for help. And it's okay to show vulnerability that, hey, I don't feel like I'm protecting or I'm providing in this area. I don't feel like that I'm living up, and I don't feel like I'm enough and worthy in this other area. And here's some of the things that I feel scared about. And here's some of the things that I feel disconnected with. And where do we go for help? And that's it.
Yeah.
Create more resources for yourself. Help yourself more, structure it, bring the wolf pack together. Go to your coaches, go to your mentors, go to, partner with these people, but create something to help yourselves.
Yeah. It's and to add into that, it's no different than when you're on the plane. What do they say when if you lose cabin pressure, the mask on? They always say secure yours first before anyone else. I understand that if I am not together, I am no good to anyone else.
Mm.
Best thing I can do for my family, best thing I can do for my friends, for my team at work, my clients, is to make sure that I am the best version of myself.
Mm.
It's not selfish to say I put on my mask first. No, I'm putting myself in a position so that I am not part of the problem, but I'm part of the solution.
Right. Thank you for helping yourself first. Thank you for being on this podcast. Where can people follow your work or connect with you?
Yeah, you can always reach us online at atltriallaw.com. You can call us 404-800-HELP, or you can follow me personally on Instagram. That's Riah_Greathouse.esq.
Riah_Greathouse.esq.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, Riah Greathouse, thank you for joining us. We will put his description and his links in the comments. And until the next time, for the Wealthy Minded podcast, the podcast for elite men who are looking for success beyond the money, I will see you in our next episode where we have so much more of these rich stories to share with you. Thank you for joining us.